The Wright brothers have been working on airplanes for years, and they discovered something. From the beginning, we have employed entirely new principles of control. All of Wright. They have changed many things to get their plane just right. And in 1903 in Kitty Hawk, the Wright brothers changed history forever. They flew the first successful airplane. In their first success, their plane flew for 3.5 seconds. It may seem like nothing, but that 3.5 seconds will revolutionize flight forever. It will start the process of building planes that can be used to take down other planes and also carry passengers to locations. Not long after that first flight, they got the plane to fly 12 seconds, then 15 seconds, and then finally 59 seconds. In 11 years, the airplane will be used in war. This is the first time planes will be used in combat, but nothing like that would happen without the Wright brothers in 1903. World War I started on June 28, 1914, when Franz Ferdinand, the heir to the Austria-Hungary throne, was assassinated. Then Austria-Hungary declared war on Serbia. This was the start of the war. The war included 40 different nations. The nations fought from every continent, but most of the fighting occurred in Europe. This was the first worldwide war. At the beginning of the war, officers decided to use planes to spy on enemy troop movements, so the land units are prepared for the enemy. Also, the pilots would photograph the terrain, so the troops can find a good defensive position. These early planes were two-seater planes, one seat for the pilot and the other for an observer. During the very beginning of the war, the French and the British flew right over the Germans without any problem. The Germans had no planes, so the Germans started to build planes to prevent the Allies from spying on them. Many pilots were ex-athletes, ex-racers, or young men that wanted to fight for their country. The average age of a pilot was 20. Being a pilot was not easy. Every time you went up in the air, there was a significant chance of never returning. In April of 1917, the life expectancy of a British pilot was only 17.5 hours of combat flying, or 3 to 6 weeks in active duty. In May 1918, the Germans were losing 1 out of every 7 pilots every single month. If a pilot returned from a mission, they would be greeted by their squadron mascot. Squadrons had bears, lions, monkeys, and other exotic animals. The Lafayette Escalade, an American group's mascots, were 2 lion cubs. Pilots on both sides of the war respected each other. If a pilot were shot down, sometimes his killer would drop flowers on him. Also, the other nation may have a funeral for an enemy soldier. Gotthard Sachsenberg, a World War I pilot, said, "For seconds I forgot that the man across me was my enemy. It seems as though I was sparring with an old comrade over our own airfield." The first aces ever were Oswald Bollack and Max Immelmann, who were both Germans. To become an ace, a pilot would have to take down 5 enemy aircraft. To become an ace of an ace, you would have to destroy over 40 planes. Very few pilots became an ace of an ace. Only 31 pilots in World War I ever became an ace of an ace. Aces were their country's heroes. Trading cards were made for every ace in their country, and children would trade them. Sometimes a pilot would be given valuable items such as gold or a gold watch for every kill they got. Manfred von Richthofen, also known as the Red-Baron, was a very popular German pilot. He was born May 2nd, 1892, in Breslau, Prussia, of very wealthy parents. His father was an officer in the army, and he wanted to follow in his father's footsteps. Manfred entered Cadet Corps, a military school. Not long after that, Manfred got into the Royal Military Academy and the Air Academy in Berlin. In 1911, Manfred joined the 1st Regiment of Uhlans, a highly respected cavalry unit. 3 years after that, World War I started, and Manfred was sent to Poland to engage Russians. Later, he was sent to France for the 1914 attack. Not long after that campaign, Manfred became an officer, like his father. In spring of 1915, he was transferred to the German Flying Corps. At first, Manfred was an observer under a pilot named Kurt Wisserman Plough. But as airplanes changed and there was only one-seater planes, he became a fighter pilot, and a very good one at that. In 1917, Manfred had downed 16 enemy planes and had his own squadron. In April of 1917, Manfred got his 47th kill and had the most kills in the German Air Force. No pilot had more, and on April 20th, 1918, Manfred got his final and 80th kill. In his next mission, Manfred and his squadron were fighting British squadron. Manfred started to engage a pilot named May. May's machine gun got jammed, so he retreated to his base. While Manfred was chasing him, another pilot, Brown, was stealthily following Manfred and shot some bullets into his plane. Manfred's plane went down, and the great Red-Barron was dead. A famous quote from Manfred von Richthofen is, "I am a hunter. When I have shot down an Englishman, my hunting passion is satisfied for a quarter of an hour." Many people wonder why Manfred von Richthofen was named the Red-Barron. It was because he painted his plane red, and that is how he got his name. World War I airplanes revolutionized flight forever. Some say when war comes, we grow the most. When war comes, everyone is trying to make the better machines. This caused airplanes to change and become faster, stronger, and lighter more quickly than airplanes would have changed without war. And whoever has the newest and the best technologies will win the war. World War I planes were the first time that planes were used for military. Before the war, no one put machine guns on their planes. This is another example of how World War I airplanes revolutionized flight forever. Also, after the war, airplanes were used to deliver mail and were used in shows. Because of World War I, these things were possible.